Milwaukee, make some noise for your headliner, Josh Johnson.
Been very excited. I've been very, very excited. Been highly anticipating a bout that's coming up. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Some of you may have not known that this was going to happen, but in case you didn't, Mike Tyson is going to box Jake Paul, and I'm excited more for the spectacle than the actual fight. I don't know what's going to happen in the fight exactly, but it is one of the wildest encounters of two people punching each other that you could have ever imagined. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, a star, a bona fide star globally of the 80s, fighting one of the most popular influencers that the modern era has to offer. And it just feels like somehow the 80s are fighting the 20s. Do you know what I mean? Like, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul feels like Sylvester Stallone versus Liam Hemsworth. It's like, you're just kind of like, what? How? How are they even close enough in age to have anything to argue about? Oh, this is crazy. If you don't know Mike Tyson, I know that some people are too young to have like really watched him fight. I'm too young to have like remembered those fights live. Some of them I wasn't even around for, but I watched the tape and it's devastating. Mike Tyson is one of the most bona fide terrifying people. You know what I mean? Some of the things that Mike Tyson would just say, I'd be like, oh, to even think it, you must be willing to do it. Do you know, like there was a press conference one time where Mike Tyson was sitting there and he's like, this thing, I don't think these guys understand. I'm not here to just box. I'm not here to fight or anything. I'm trying to take their health. Sir, the question was, what has your preparation been for this match? Mike Tyson he's like an embodiment of like everything like fierce, violent, and dangerous in one person that also very much loves birds. And what's wild about Mike Tyson is that from the time that he was young, right, to present, he had taken a genuine, not only interest, but maybe an obsession with the way that the world works, understanding oneself and understanding the world and how who you are applies to the world, right? So he said some of the most fascinating things around Alexander the Great, around conquerors, around kings, around how to win a mental battle as well as like a physical one, how war works. He has such an understanding of the world. And then he says other things. Other things that are so scary that you're like, sir, just shoot me. Don't want to have to deal with this, you know? And a lot of it bleeds together because it's not my time, right? I'm not like from that era, but you watch these old compilations of press conferences and interviews and post-fight interviews with Mike Tyson, I was scared for the reporter. Because you have a man who's been training to basically kill a man with his fists, even if it took him 12 rounds, and it took half of one. So by the time you interview him, he's still got a lot of energy. There was one time they were trying to interview Mike Tyson after a fight. They're in the ring with him. They're putting the mic in his face and everything. And he's so amped and he's talking. He's like, y'all don't understand. Like, I'm from Sonny Liston's cloth. I'm the most fierce. And he starts describing not just who he is as a boxer, but his training and everything. And then at the end of it, he goes, I don't know, man. What? And I think if I had been the reporter, I'd also be like, nothing. I didn't say anything. Don't worry about me. Mike Tyson press conference was a master class in psychological warfare. He would say things that had you thinking like, oh man, this dude's like out of his mind. Or this dude really wants to kill me and I don't know him. That's gotta be tough as a fighter, to sign up for a fight. And you know we both fight. But one of us loves fighting. And we both like it, that's why we do it, and we're both good at it, that's why we do it. But one of us is so excited to hit, they don't care if they get hit. It's a very different person. Do you know what I mean? Even when you're mad, even when you're angry, and you're like, that's it, let's fight. You're trying to get the aggression out, and you want to hurt the other person. And yeah, maybe you're willing to take a few punches, but you aren't in a fight loving getting hit just so you can give a hit. It takes a different type of person, and Mike is a different type of person. You know? When you look at where Mike Tyson comes from, it's astounding that he made it to where he was. You know, Mike Tyson comes from Brooklyn, was in Bed-Stuy, and then at a young age moves to Bronzeville, and it is devastating because it's not the Brooklyn that you know now. You know what I mean? Like there were no cupcake shops. It was Brooklyn in a way that was, let's say the property would be cheap, all right? Like if you were trying to buy, all right? Devastating conditions. And he talks about how there was just, you couldn't even go to the bathroom inside sometimes where they were staying and stuff. And all of that stuff can make a hardened person. Because he didn't just have to live in certain conditions. He had conditions waiting for him when he got outside. He talked about it. He had to fight. He had to fight all the time. He had to be ready to be tough all the time. People will test you all the time, right? He talked about his first fight. Because like I said, Mike Tyson loves birds. It's truly one of the sweetest things about him. It's one of the things that like gives you a glimpse into the humanity of a person that's only known as being this fierce beast, right? Loving these birds, being gentle with them, caring for them, spending time with them, you know? Really taking care of them. And when he was a kid, there was a kid who took his bird. And he was like, give it back, give it back, give it back. And give it back, I think give it back genuinely in the way that a kid is asking you earnestly from the bottom of their heart, no, please, give it back, right? And that kid killed that bird in front of him. And then Mike Tyson, I'm assuming, killed that kid because he at least let him remember what would happen. And Mike would get into trouble, and it's easy to say, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do this, right? All those things can be true. Obviously, you shouldn't be robbing people, you shouldn't be selling stuff, you shouldn't be out here with these people who are on a bad path and everything. But when you have what looks like no other option from those things, how can you expect someone to just know You drive down the path that's been paved, you know? And so he ends up in like detention centers and stuff like that. And at one point, Mike Tyson meets Customato. Customato sees him, and immediately he knows. He knows this kid is special and he's different, and not only just because he's built different, not only because he's big for his age, there's just something about him. And he gets the opportunity to like box a little bit. He goes to the gym, he's hitting bags and stuff, spars a little bit, and Customato sees in something in him. And after sparring, you know, as the story goes, they ask this kid who's just sparred with some grown men, "How old are you?" And then Mike goes, "I'm 13. And then these grown men look at each other and go, this nigga at least 30. Like, there's no way. You better put a 0 behind that 13. That's, what? 13. And Customato, to my knowledge, actually adopts Mike Tyson. Takes him into his home, right? Not just to train him, but to care for him, to love him. You know? Because all this energy, all this fierce potential can really go somewhere if you nurture it, right? And then under Customato's leadership, Mike Tyson does become as fierce of a person as Customato thinks he can be in the ring. And Cus believed in him before he believed in himself. I think that's why their friendship, that mentorship is like, when you see it, there's something special about it. Because anyone who sees anything in any of us and pulls it out of you, right, just with their belief, that's a very special thing. And the only people that wish Customato hadn't done what he did are probably Mike's opponents, because Mike would have fights that were so damn fast. You can see it even in the video, even in some of the amateur fights that were actually on video. You can see in the opponent where they were like, "Does he have a hammer? What is he doing? That really hurt." No. And then Mike gets older. Mike becomes world champion. Youngest world champion, right? In there with a boxer with real experience, who's also a special fighter, right? But Mike hits him in a way that maybe he's never been hit before. And if you go back and you watch the video of this knockout, I shouldn't laugh, but Mike didn't just knock this dude out. Like, he didn't knock him out cold, right? This dude gets knocked down again, and he's trying to get up, and you can tell that his body is like, "Dog, we done. Don't. No. You know, like when you're in a bar fighting, your buddies hold you back? That was that guy's whole body. Like, you can even hear the announcer be like, "Oh, he's fighting to get up, but his body won't let him," because his body is like parts of him that didn't get hit. This dude got hit in his head and the chin, and even his feet and his knees and his hips were like, "Look, if you ever want to speak to us again, don't stack us up on top of each other right now. You need to sit down." And then Mike Tyson becomes world champion. He becomes everything that Customato thought he could be. He becomes everything that he knew he was, right? It's a beautiful moment. And then it's important when you think of Mike Tyson to understand that Mike Tyson is America. A lot of Mike Tyson's story is how America works, right? There are parts of this country that if you travel to, you'll think you're in another country for how poor they are, how broken, the conditions that people are living in. You know, it looks like the developing world in some parts of America, and we don't like to talk about it. We especially don't like to take care of those people because it means we have to really look at ourselves to do it. But there are people that come out of those conditions that build themselves up into something that no one else could have imagined based on where they started, right? Mike Tyson is just like America. Mike Tyson is fierce, fearsome, you know, incredibly violent. People in other countries look at America the way that we look at Mike Tyson. Genuinely, if you travel, and I mean really travel, I'm not talking about just go to the tourist spots and the places that are popular to go. If you really travel and you know world history and you go to a place and you ask them about America, right? A country that we've attacked before. you know? They look at us like we have a tattoo on our face. Mike Tyson builds himself up, and he doesn't just get the world championship. He has some very, very impressive fights where you can average his whole fight time out to like maybe a round and a half. He's beating people so fast it's actually upsetting the crowd. I know people who paid a lot of money to go to a Mike Tyson fight and went in the bathroom at the wrong time. Sit there the whole fight card holding it, and then you're like, oh, he's only walking out, I got a second. And then from the bathroom you hear, oh. You're like, oh no. I mean, then Mike goes down a downward spiral. He loses Customato. He loses this person that was a mentor, that was a friend, you know? And he tries to find his way, but he's still very young. People forget how young he was when he was Mike, when he was Iron Mike, and he was fearless and he was undefeated, and starts, you know, getting lost in it. And he'll tell you that. He's talked about that. He got lost, right? Goes to jail at one point. Like, this dude is on a dark path, you know? And even, I mean, this is attributed to Mike Tyson. I don't know if he actually said it like this, but he was like, I was a baby. I was a baby, and you gave me millions of dollars to punch people in the face, and you didn't think this was going to go off the rails somehow? Like, you didn't think that this was a bad idea, maybe? No. That's who's fighting. This guy who's relentless, you know? So much fear. Imagine you're in the ring with Mike Tyson and he won't stop staring. Just the face-off, just watching the face-off, you would see it in his eyes. He's like, I would very much like to hurt someone today. And legally, it's you. And he was fast, and his movements were jerky, but they were quick, and they clearly hurt, because some very big men did not get up. He would hit people so hard sometimes that you'd be like, I think that guy's dead. And then he'd twitch, you'd be like, he's all right. That's who's fighting. And then you have Jake Paul. One thing people need to understand about Jake Paul, if you don't, he's very much, we are in Jake Paul's time. Whether we like it when I say that or not, he's having his Mike Tyson moments right now. World famous around the world. People tune in from around the world. They watch his fights. They watch his YouTube videos. This dude is a true bona fide star, right? And we can argue about if he's as popular as Mike was back then and why the internet is different, but he is very popular. You know, and he loved boxing. He feels like boxing saved him. That's something similar that he has with Mike, because this kid, he got a camera from his dad, him and his brother, when they were young, and it was to film themselves while they were doing football so that they could improve, right? Which I don't know how that works. I don't play enough football. Like, if I did that and tried to tape myself playing football to improve, I think I would just be like, this is where I got hit. And this is when I hit the ground. I think that's all I did. I don't know was that right? Is that how you do it? And so him and his brother start making videos, like little YouTube videos, whatever. They're putting them online. They're getting some looks every now and again. But then Vine came out. And if you don't know what Vine is like TikTok granddaddy. And they start making Vines, and they get very popular almost overnight. They are huge on Vine. Everybody thinks they're funny, and they love to follow them. They want to know what they're doing next. They're getting all this money, endorsements, everything. At one point, Jake Paul is on the Disney Channel. I don't really know what he was doing, but it was quick. And then they start posting on YouTube and they start getting millions of subscribers on YouTube. These kids are bona fide popular and they understand something that maybe the rest of us just don't. And that's why they are where they are. They understand internet culture. They understand marketing and business. They understand the way that the world is turning, right? And it's the age of the influencer, right? And a lot of people want to be influencers. Some people don't want to be. You can accidentally become famous, and that's a terrifying thing. You become famous in a way that you really didn't mean to, you know? You're just living your life. But somebody puts a cell phone on you, or you don't know you're in someone's shot, and you trip weird, and you go, and now you're, like that's who you are as a guy. And then people see you in the world, and they're like, hey, we love you, dude, we love, that's our favorite. Man, keep killing it, dog, keep killing it. But before you know it, just one thing, just one meme, just one moment catapults you to this level of fame that no person can be prepared for. Whether you're Mike Tyson in the 80s or you're Jake Paul now, people don't understand that like fame that you weren't even trying to get can mess with your mind, right? And so Jake Paul was on a dark path as well. He was probably headed for a bad place, and then he started boxing and he loved it. And boxing to a degree saved him. And so he's out here boxing, you know? And at first he starts fighting like YouTubers, like fellow YouTubers, because that garners attention. Because sometimes you see two people who don't like each other and you're like, man, it would be kind of funny if they fought. And this is the thing about us. We as people love a fight. Whether we like to admit that about ourselves or not, we love a fight. I've been walking down the street and seeing kids on the park sinking threes from far away, Steph Curry level, right? And I'm like impressed, and I maybe watch him do two more, and then I'm like, he's getting it in. He'll be fine. But if I see a fight in the park, I stop. Because I'm wondering, you know? But no, we're in this age where I think people sometimes want to be famous more than they want to do something. You know, and that's where you get some of these things, some of these imitators of Jake Paul, of Logan Paul and stuff like that. There was a kid whose story, like, it blew my mind. Basically, there was this kid doing these pranks, and they were like barely pranks. It was just being obnoxious. It was just being like horrible to people and messing with people to try to get a reaction out of them. Because not only are we the new like influencers, everyone, all of us, all the time, it could happen to any one of us, but because of how people become influencers, because of how people get popular, they are our paparazzi now. You're just living your life, but now you're in someone's video and they're trying to make you act a certain way. That's not what we signed up for, you know? You should at least be rich to have that happen. And so this kid was making this video, and he was messing with this guy in the mall, and he was following him around, and he was just like not just being annoying, he seemed like to also be intimidating him a little bit, and he was really following, trying to get him to answer some question or something. And finally, this little guy, he's like a very small guy, and he did not look well, right? He finally goes, stop, and then he pulled out a gun and shot him. And I am praying that's not him. This dude pulls out a gun and he shot him. There's this loud bang in the mall and people start screaming and running and everything. But from the vantage point of like the person who, because he posted it himself, the kid, the influencer who was making the prank video, posts the thing, and he's coming at him, and the guy's like, stop, bang. And then as soon as you hear the bang, this kid, the prankster, goes, oh! And to be fair, there's no cool way to get shot. But he goes, oh! And he hits the ground, and that guy walks off, and obviously he gets arrested and everything. They explain the situation. I believe he got released. And then this kid goes to the hospital. He's fine, right? He's fine. He got shot in the side, and he's fine. But when they ask him about it, they ask him how he feels about the fact that this thing happened. Like, is it change how he's going to make content? He got more followers from it happening because it got on the news, and people wanted to see the kid that got shot, and they wanted to see the other stuff that he did. So he did get more popular, right? And they wondered how he felt towards the gunman. This guy shot you, and you were being annoying, but did you deserve to be shot, right? And then this kid sitting in his hospital bed, his dad, by the way, is furious. His dad is like, there are people saying my son deserved to be shot. My son's just a kid, right? And this kid sitting in his hospital bed, when he's asked these questions, goes, it is what it is, dog. Like, which I can't tell, is that a good attitude about it? But it lets me know it's not just a few people. It's not just a few individuals. We're in an age, and it's an age of if I can be popular, maybe I can be safe, maybe I can be liked, maybe I can be something, whatever it is. But it's apparently worth being shot over for some people. And make no mistake, Jake Paul is America. I don't know how it feels to have me say that, but Jake Paul is America. A lot of what America embodies is what Jake Paul is, right? America is business, usually business first. We can worry about being a country later. It's business, and it's fame, and it's money, and it's influence, right? You go to some of these backdoor meetings that some of these world leaders have when America convinces them to do something. We don't know how they do it. Maybe it's with money. Maybe it's with other things. Maybe they're like, hey, look, we'd hate for something to happen to your whole island. Influence. See what I mean? And so now you have these two boxing, and people don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, there are people that want Mike Tyson to hurt Jake Paul very badly. And then there are people who just want to see a fight. They just want to see what it would look like. You know what I mean? They just want to see what it would look like if, like, that guy from The Breakfast Club fought Timothy Chalamet. Like, just... They just want to see two generations go at it. You know? Because let's be honest, it's an odd fight. You know, Jake Paul has fought former MMA fighters. He's fought former NBA players. He's fought YouTubers. He's fought one established boxer, maybe two pro boxers that I know of, right? Because I don't know his entire record. But he said that the thing that made him do this, the thing that made him push for it and create it, was he did some ayahuasca. And when he did the ayahuasca, he said he saw himself fighting Mike Tyson. And if I'm being honest, taking ayahuasca and seeing yourself fighting Mike Tyson sounds like something Mike Tyson would say doing ayahuasca. Like, I could more clearly see Mike Tyson doing ayahuasca, and he's like, I saw myself fighting Jake Paul. I don't know, man. I had to think to myself, you know, if I did ayahuasca and I saw myself fighting Mike Tyson, I'd probably have to sit back and be like, maybe heroin's the answer. Like, I don't know. This ayahuasca is not it for me. No, thank you. You know? And so, as soon as he had that vision, though, he put it into motion. And that's the marketer, that's the businessman, that's the promoter in Jake Paul. He saw this thing and he had to create it. That's also America, by the way. You go to other countries and you're like, oh, I have this big dream of doing this thing. A lot of countries are set in their ways, right? America is properly crazy. we'll let you do anything, fundamentally. And so now they have a press conference. They're together, and Jake Paul's very good at being the heel, you know what I mean? But it's hard to be the heel when you're fighting Mike Tyson. Like, people might be booing you, but he's saying truly upsetting things. Mike Tyson was in a press conference one time, and he was like, look, all I want is for his kids to be watching us fight and see me beat them so bad that they're like, Daddy, no. Hearing Mike Tyson quotes out loud genuinely makes me want to learn Tai Chi. So in case I ever come across Mike Tyson, I can look like I'm about to fight him while also backing up. Like, and some people think that the fight's just a spectacle. Some people think it's a real fight. There are kids who think Jake Paul's got to beat Mike Tyson, right? Jake Paul's a great boxer. Let's see it happen. I'm so excited to see Jake Paul whoop this guy. There really are both sides to this thing. And it's going to be on Netflix, which who knows if that's a mistake. You know what I mean? Who knows if they fight and then one of them dies and we're just sitting there like, so... are we accomplices, or just sitting there, stoic, don't know what to do next, and Netflix is like, are you still watching? Not now, man. You know? And it's a gamble as well. It's a gamble. Is one of the biggest gambles we've seen, because Mike Tyson is, to some degree, putting his legacy on the line. He's one of the most fierce fighters that's ever lived. People talk about Ali and Tyson. When they talk about boxing, they don't really know anything about it. You know those names. And then Jake Paul's putting something on the line, too. It's like, I had this idea, I had this dream of fighting Mike Tyson, and maybe I'm just out of my mind and I'm going to be hurt very badly. And Netflix is putting something on the line, because it's like, will people watch? Will someone die? It's a genuine gamble. And if America is anything, it's a proper gamble. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. I don't know. I admire an aspect of what Jake is doing, because Jake loves boxing. And no one will probably ever give him credit for it, but he is revitalizing a part of boxing. People talk about boxing a little bit more now because of the popularity that he brings in, the new kids that he brings in, and he's putting himself on the line because he loves boxing. And that, to me, is wild. Like, I love hip-hop, but I wouldn't try to battle Kendrick Lamar. Like... It's awesome to be here with you in Calgary. I appreciate y'all so much. It's really great to be here in Canada to get a break. Because when you live in the U.S., you like live there. And it's like all the time. Like you there like every day. Like, unless you travel, you there every day. It's all happening all the time. You have the notification on your phone. It's bad. It's every day you wake up, you're like, oh, again. No, it's rough. It's not the best time. It is not great right now. You know. And I'm impressed by you all, because you all keep up with your news in our news. Like, you know what's going on here, you know what's going on, where we are and stuff. And yeah, I know that you're probably concerned because you read the news and it's close. But trust, we are more concerned because when I was a kid, this kid, I was just call him Laquan because rhymes with his name. But I always wanted to be really good at like climbing a tree. Like when I was reading stories growing up, some of my favorite characters were like very outdoorsy and they could climb trees real fast and everything. Maybe that'd be half the story was climbing the tree. And I just didn't have the grip. Out of fear of heights, I would just slide down. I didn't have it like that, but Laquan was fast. Was like, you know, up here and just knew like where to put the foot to get the hand, to just had like an awareness of everywhere that his body was, you know, and he was able to get really high. And then one day I was seeing a neighbor. The neighbor was like, "Did you hear about Laquan?" I was like, no, I didn't hear what happened. He was like, "Oh, he fell out of the tree, you know, and basically he got really high, but then a branch snapped, and so he had fallen, and then he bounced a couple times, and then he bounced between branches and just kind of hit you ever played pinball? He basically did that all the way down to where the actual final landing was pretty soft because every branch before that really broke his fall from what would have been a dangerous fall was now more of a plop with several lumps all over his body, right? And hearing that story was like painful because the kid that was telling me about it was there. So he was describing it in great detail. He was like, and then he was like, boom, and then he was like, boom, and then there was one branch he hit. He was like, oh! Boom, 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 boom. And hearing it was like jarring, you know? I can only imagine what it would have been like to be Laquan falling out of the tree. And that's what it's kind of like to be in the U.S. as you like hear. Boom, boom, ow! Boom, boom, oh! Boom, boom. Because I try when I go to different places to read a little bit of their news. I have to admit to you that I am not like so internationally minded all the time that I'm reading everybody's news all the time. I'm mostly focused on the news where I'm at. But in preparation, coming to Canada, I've been coming to Canada off and on for the past 2 weeks, and I've been reading news of the places that I've been going to, and let me just say, truly, it has been so sweet. It has been fundamentally adorable to read and watch your news delivered with such earnestness as if these are real emergencies. They're not, I guarantee they're not. The way, okay. Even today, you know, I went to Montreal, went to Ottawa, Calgary, and I was in Ottawa and just watching some local news, reading an article, and it was like a man was pulled over speeding. I mean, where are you off to in such a hurry, buddy? Is the car not enough? Is the vehicle not enough? You have to punch it. Maybe you should have left earlier, all right? Maybe think about that. Think about your own safety, safety of others, you know? Speeding. Now, look at yourself. Got yourself pulled over, now you're late. All right? A man today was pulled over speeding, and when the police pulled him over, it turns out he had drugs in his vehicle. I just think about the parents, you know? I think about, sure he was 45, but where did this start? Oh, something must be going on at home, you know? You know, because marijuana is legal. He had drugs. He had narcotics. You see that news and you're like, oh, that's adorable. No. Meanwhile, you'll turn on the news, living in the States, and they'll just be, man in Kentucky found dead, just legs. We don't know where. We have no idea what happened to the top half. It is just legs. We're assuming it's a man. These could be any legs, really. We just sort of said man because of the size of the shoes. But while we're at it, let's just be on the lookout for anyone. If you see any top halves missing a bottom half, please call this hotline. You know? You see it. You see it all around, even here. You know, come here, turn on the news, maybe read some news, and you see people angry, distraught. They're Canadians in Calgary, furious, right? Interviewing them, and they're like, I can't believe that our city, I can't believe that the province would put a sign right here. A sign right here, like a sign right here. I've parked here for years. What are they thinking? This is what happens when you lose connection to the people, all right? Meanwhile, in the U.S., Trump is trying to defund Elmo. I didn't do it. No, it's up for everybody. Bert, Ernie, Cookie Monster, anybody can get it. Nobody's safe. And so you see, when you come here and you get a break, you know, you see people like upset about something, but it's not like an umbrella of an issue. It's just their issue. You know what I mean? There's just something going on with them personally. That's refreshing. It really is. As small or as big as the personal problem is, it's nice, you know? It's nice to be able to talk to someone and get a sense of what's wrong with them. They're not having a good day. They're not happy, very angry or upset, but you're getting something from them that isn't this thing that it feels like no one can do anything about, you know? You know, like, met a man in Montreal, and we just casually started chatting, and he seemed like something was wrong, and I don't know what led me to do it, but I was just like, are you, like, how's your day going, you know? And he was like, she left. Meanwhile, in the U.S., if you ask someone how their day is going, depending on who you ask, depending on the state or city, you're gonna get a very different answer. But a lot of the people that I've asked, hey, how's your day going? Maybe I'm just at a store. They're ringing me up. I'm like, how's your day going today? And then they're like, oh, you didn't hear? You didn't hear? He's outlawing reading. It's over. No, it's rough because then, you know, we have Trump wins. I know y'all saw. And then he's talking wild. He's like, Canada's gonna be the 51st state, right? I didn't say it. I do think, though, that one of the reasons, even the dog, even the dog. Dogs don't even have an understanding of like geographical boundaries or borders, and even the dog. That's wow. Did y'all do that on purpose? I know you've been booing every time somebody says 51st state. Did you teach the dogs to also? I think one of the things that did happen with that is that he said it in a way that was so glib and was so dismissive of not just Canada's like autonomy, but also he didn't even try to woo you. And I think it's because it's a hard sell. You know what I mean? You're telling me you don't want to be part of the United States, you don't want to get shot for free? No, in the U.S., let me tell you something. In the U.S., the United States of America, you get shot for free. You only have to pay to take the bullet out. You don't want to have the health care you have now, but not, you don't want to. No, you don't want your 12-year-old to read at a 12-month-old level. Why? You know, I look around, I ask, why? You don't want to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to an insurance company that will act like they don't know you when you call to fulfill your claim. Come on. You know, you don't want to make the only food you can afford, food that you kind of don't even question what meat it is after a while. All right. To each their own. You know, because look, it is a tough sell to be the 51st. I don't think that it would really work. One, because of the things that we're used to. You know, just in government alone, you have a parliamentary process. We have Congress, right? You have several parties. You have lots of parties to choose from. I say lots because we have 2. So even 3 would be like, wow! You know, like more and more of the U.S. when you travel, it just feels like it just feels like as someone from the States, when I go to other places and I'm learning whether it's their culture, different processes of government or just customs or something, I always come off like I'm not used to anything. Like they took me on a date and I got to the table and I was like, salt and pepper. Because that's what I'm used to. That's the totality of the spice rack of American politics. you get your salt and you get your pepper. Meanwhile, y'all have paprika. You know, I'm not saying it's perfect. You know, you have these like 5 parties, only 3 are probably ever gonna win, but you get these like choices, these different pushes, you know. In the US, oof. We got Republicans, we got Democrats, and we got like Jill Stein. Like I've been learning about your parties. I really didn't realize how much deeper it went as far as like the seats and the majority, and that no confidence vote is a pretty big thing. That's crazy. That's a no confidence vote. Okay. Look, because I found out about no confidence, and I was blown away. So basically, I know you live here. I'm not telling you what it is. I'm telling you how I found out what it was, right? Okay, so with the no confidence vote, which is basically, if I have it right, it's when you have your like leadership party in power, but everybody is like, they're bad. Like, this is horrible. I don't even know if they know what they're doing. And then you talk to them in interviews and they're like, look, we don't know, but we gonna figure it out. And so then you have no confidence in them. So then, you know, they get pushed to a no confidence vote. They get that no confidence vote. Then, you know, you have to rejig the government. Basically have to be like, all right, y'all are not it. Let's get somebody who is it, right? And that, as like someone from the States, that blows my mind. That you can just not have confidence. That you cannot have confidence in your leadership and you don't have to wait. Because trust me, it's not just this election. There have been plenty of elections throughout my entire life where people voted, somebody won, and the confidence dwindled within about 6 weeks. And then we were like, oh, in 3 years and some change, you're gonna find out how we the people feel. I hope you're ready for that. No, I don't think you can get people who are a part of a system that has like a parliamentary process that has no confidence votes and then give them what we have in the US. I don't know if that would go well to be like, no, I know we voted for him, but that was a different time, and we didn't know that he was out of his mind. We didn't know that he was completely. When he was talking, when he was running, all the brains seemed like they were in the head. And so people were like, I like what he said. I think, yeah. And then he won, and then we realized that the brains were gone. And now we have no confidence, and we should do something about that presently, right? Before there's no food on the shelves. A lack of choice was how I knew I was broke. Yeah, I mean, when I was like out on my own for the first time, I had a choice between these 2 types of cereals I could afford. One was like a little corn pop thing. Whatever it was the only ingredient was high fructose corn syrup. And then there was this other cereal that was like, okay, I'm positive it was for people. I'm 100% positive it was for people, but it was built like dog food, okay? It just had a very pellety look to it. It had when you poured it had the brrr of like pellet. Didn't help it also went in a bowl, right? And that was what I did, back and forth, because I was broke. And I just had these 2 choices. I could just go from one to the other, and one got me real like jittery and excited, and I usually crashed by like 2 p.m. And then the other one definitely felt like I should be barking if I'm eating it. Then I got a little bit of money in my pocket. Ooh, I got spoiled for choice. Then I didn't even know what to do. I'd buy some cereal and I'd be like, it's good, but it's not the best.
It's fine. Completely forgetting it could have just been these two. That's what it feels like. Look outside looking in, that you have like a whole parliamentary process. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm sure you have your problems. I get that. You don't tell anybody, but I'm positive that you have your own problems. I get it. And I understand people's frustration. I know that there's been strikes in Canada. I know that there are people that are worried about housing. A lot of the same things that people are worried about in other countries. It's not as if I'm projecting some like absolute heaven and haven onto you. I know that it's a country full of people and people have problems. It's just we have more. It's a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, and I just don't think that it would work, because even with a prime minister versus a president, your prime minister still fits in that legislative branch. There's a lot of things reining your prime minister in, no matter who they are. And a president we're coming to realize by accident is a king. That's a king. We thought we left, and we really did. We were like, we don't want a king. Get out of here, Britain. And Britain was like, all right, give it a couple hundred years. You'll want one of us. Now, because we have this different branch, this executive branch where the president's power resides, that is deciding to not really pay attention to or heed our legislative or judicial branch, because it's really the legislative branch that's supposed to decide if we defund Elmo. That's really their purview, but he was like, no, I'm the only one that gets to look like this. You most recently had a decision to make. You most recently had an election. And, I was here before the election, now I'm here after the election, and I was never gonna tell anybody what to do. I did, while I was in Montreal and Ottawa, tell people to just like look across the fence. Just check if you like that. Because they always say that the grass is greener, but sometimes your neighbor doesn't have grass. Sometimes it's just a Buick on blocks. And that is tough. Because then our news would become your news. Because look, don't be wrong, like I said, I'm fully aware. And I also believe I'm open to the ideas that Canada has problems I'm not even aware of, right? Like there's a chance, I'm imagining, right? If you're in the right place at the right time for this bad thing to happen, if you go out into one of your beautiful parks and you where you're not supposed to be, you playing around, it's possible to get bit by a moose. Right? It's not all roses and bubbles over here. You can really get got over in Canada, right? You could get bit by a moose if you put yourself in that situation. You really stay in those neighborhoods, you know what I mean? If you're really trying to live that lifestyle, that's what comes with it. But trust me when I tell you, you're not ready for daily U.S. news. Sure, you could get bit by a moose here, but just the other day, a man used an alligator to rob a liquor store. Which is one of the more effective robberies you can engage in, right? Because you walk in to a liquor store, I'm assuming to buy some alcohol. make a night of it, you know? And then there are people in the US that are desperate. You know, desperate because we don't share the same social safety nets. We won't even share some of the same attitudes around a network of community the way that Canadians do as a baseline. I know not everybody agrees, and you have your conservatives, your liberals and everything, but for the most part, there's a genuine understanding that, like, okay, healthcare, we're gonna have that, we're gonna do our best with housing, we're gonna do our best with all these things, right? And in the US, it's mostly like, hey, get it how you live. And sometimes getting it how you live includes robbing a liquor store, going to where you know there will be cash, going there with an alligator that might be a pet. I have no idea. I truly don't know if this is a pet or if this is an alligator that he found, or if this is an alligator that he like going in on it with. He's like, look, if I get the cat, because look, I do like the idea of them being partners. I do like the idea of them getting together and being like, listen, all right, you like raw chicken, you like raw chicken thighs, okay? If I have cash, I can buy that stuff, I can give you some of that, so we'll split it in chicken thighs and cash. Cash to me, chicken thighs to you, just so that we're clear, right? So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna pick you up like a puppy, right? But then I'm gonna grab the back of your tail, I'm gonna swing you around, right? And when I swing you around, I want you to be like, ah! Just really make a show of it, keep the mouth open, let them know what could happen if they don't act right, right? Because he didn't go in, this man did not walk in, hold it like a rifle, like anybody can get it. Hey, don't move, right? No, this man came in, swinging gator at people, right? And people couldn't run out fast enough. Now, it was a mistake to start swinging it in the doorway because you really only want the actual cashier to be intimidated. Now, you've made 8 people think, all right, it's all of us against him, the alligator. You have more adversaries than is necessary. You know, then you try to get the cash and everything, but it's hard to get the cash because the alligator, he's not really thinking like a robber. Alligator was told to do his thing, so he doing his thing. Like that wiggle that they do, going as hard as he can, throwing hip, right? Like, alligators don't have booty, but if they did, he'd be twerking, right? Snapping and everything, which does make it hard to get the cash, right? Because now this cashier trying to put it all in his hand. This dude didn't have a bag. So now he just got to stuff cash in his pocket while holding on to the tail of the alligator. And the alligator, I don't know. I don't speak alligator, but I'm assuming the alligator is like, is this part of it? Because after a while, the alligator is being more difficult than helpful, right? Stuffing. Then he runs out. They call the cops and everything. And look, I can't imagine what it's like to be a cop that gets the call that there's someone robbing a liquor store with an alligator. I'm sure those cops were like, couldn't it just be a gun? No, you're not ready for news like that. Because I'm sure, look, there's property crimes, there's violent crimes everywhere in the world. You have your crime. But it seems like, from what I've been reading about your crime, that it does, and I don't mean this in like an insensitive way, but it does seem like most of your crime kind of like makes sense. Like you get to the bottom of it, and it's like, oh, he wanted what he had, and so he stole it from him, right? The U.S. has a lot of weird crime because a lot of our resources have been shut down, right? So some of the crime is not necessarily just to do the crime, it's just people doing what they think is necessary in their head that happens to be a crime. Like, a good example was, there was a man who called the police because he broke into this restaurant, right? Broke into the restaurant and I think he just wanted food. That's what I'm gathering from like the call. So he just wanted food. He called in to 911 and they were like, 911, what's your emergency, right? And he's telling them off top, look, okay, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. All right, I did break in here, get a little something to eat, make a little snack, all right? But somebody else is in here and y'all need to come quickly. Like, I'm all for a little burglary, but somebody in here being weird. Like, y'all need to come for real. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, please come arrest me. Because this is my thing as well, is that Canada would only become the 51st state by legislation or by force. It's not gonna happen by legislation, because even if the more conservative counterparts of your government really wanted it, the people have made clear that they don't want it, right? And so then there would be steps taken, there'd be no confidence, there'd be all these things to stop that thing from happening. And the one thing that I don't think people are counting on is, even if there was an attempt to do it by force, people think that Canadians don't fight. But your favorite sport, your favorite sport in the world, you have access to all the sports. You have access to all the sports. I understand it gets very cold here, but the one that you picked was the one where a fight could break out at any time. And not just like break out. Like, sometimes there's a reason. Sometimes there's a clear, I don't really follow hockey because mainly I can't see it. I want to follow it so bad. Everybody seems like they're having a good time, but every time I've watched hockey, I've had to pretend that I know what's happening. You know what I mean? It's like being tone deaf watching like a singing show, like a singing competition, like watching X Factor tone deaf, and then you're just waiting for other people to cheer, so you're like, oh, they getting it, no. Yeah, actually, no, you're right, they bad. No. Anytime I've watched hockey, I've just seen the people's heads move. I've tried to move my head where their head moves, and I tried to look at where I think they're looking at and everything. And then you hear the clicking and the clacking of the sticks and stuff. And sometimes it'll click clack extra, so I'm like, oh, the puck must be over there, but it's not. It's not at all. It's actually over here. I don't know what they're doing over there. And then somebody will be rammed into a wall, a clear wall, so you can see. I've never seen only in hockey and adult films have I seen somebody pressed up against glass like this. The way they... Wow. That, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, ooh, y'all think he gonna come through? No, and then you have the fights. And the fights are very interesting to me. Truly, because it's like, there's a strange energy to the fights. No, you never really know when they're gonna pop off, and sometimes there's a backstory. Sometimes it's like, oh, look, 3 games ago, you don't just have fights, you have drama with the fights. You have a real soap opera to follow. And then you see them and throw those gloves off. I remember the first time I saw it, they threw the gloves off and I was like, ooh, won't your hands get cold? And then they go swinging each other. And then what I really love is they grab the jersey for leverage. Missing, horribly, missing, nothing but missing, and really try to get close. Come here. But every once in a while, you get somebody with incredible balance and hand-eye coordination. They throw those gloves off, they grab them. You would think they weren't on skates. They swing it around and slide it, but they're still like... It's incredible. Anytime, anybody can get it. Incredible stuff. People really believe that Canadians don't fight, that they don't have fight in them. We didn't know you had booze, you know? But I knew because a while back, I saw a news story that took place in Canada, you know, trying to be international. And I saw this news story about a man who was woken up in the night when 2 burglars broke into his home and were trying to figure out what they could take. They clearly hadn't done a good job casing his residence. So they're just looking for whatever, right? And then he wakes up, and let me first say this. If someone breaks into my home and is looking for what to steal, I don't know if I'm gonna confront them immediately. I think I might try to come up with a plan. You know, maybe I'll pretend I'm a ghost. They break in, I go to the closet that's closest to a vent. I'm like, spirits live here, y'all better stop, you gonna have to return it or something, like, you gonna be haunted, you don't wanna be haunted, I don't care how big you are, you can't fight haunted, everything in here cursed, you don't want those problems, you know? Maybe that doesn't work, maybe they're not afraid of ghosts, maybe they don't believe in ghosts, maybe they know it's me. Plan B, I'm gonna act like a bigger man. They haven't seen me yet. No. Lean around the corner. Hey! Hey, don't make me put my killing shoes on. Yeah, you lucky I don't have my shoes on right, because if I put my shoes, everybody dying in here. Because that's plan C. To act like my own dog. You know? Lean into my phone, make a recording, put it on the ground, slide it down after I hit play. That way they think it's behind them. I'm probably gonna cough. Trying to bark makes me cough. And then, last resort, might have to fight them. Might have to just run up on them and do what men do. And I have to roll up on them real quick and start biting as hard as I can. Yeah, please believe you're gonna wish it was a dog when I get done, all right? I brushed and I flossed tonight, so get ready. No, but these dudes, they broke into this guy's home and they had ski masks on, and I don't know about you, but if somebody already got the ski mask on, it just makes me feel like they're a professional criminal. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got the ski mask on already, I'm like, this is real crime we're dealing with right now. And this dude doesn't hesitate at all. And all he got on is his shorts, by the way. He just like shorts, no shirt, anything. And he starts pushing them up against the wall and he starts fighting both of them and really swinging. And they're swinging at him and he's taking some hits, but he's giving a lot. Just bow, 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 bow. He's like fight juggling them. Because he'll hit one and that one will fall and then he gets to concentrate on this one for a second. Bow, bow, bow. And then this one gets up. He's like, you get some too. Bow, right? And then their fight, he puts up a real fight to the point where at first they're ganging up on him. And then they're both like, look, I don't know how nice this apartment is. Maybe nothing in here is worth these lumps we're catching. And so then they try to leave. But he does keep punching them as they're trying to leave. He does just keep whooping ass as they're clearly turned around trying to exit now. He like trying to choke one from behind and kick the other one. And then they run out. They run out of his home. He successfully defended his castle. But then he does also leave. So then he left. I was like, uh-oh. And then you just see in the security camera in his garage, him drag one of them back in. And I was like, normally, in the U.S., there's a sentiment around this sort of thing. Like, there's warnings. It's like, you know, there's yard signs. Don't come unless you're armed. Blah blah blah. Like, there's a very frenzied passion. There's a fever dream in the U.S. of legally being able to kill someone that comes into your home. We like it a lot. There are some people that are like, please break in. I want to kill you, right? And that is almost always so that the person who wants to do the killing can use a gun. They want to shoot someone. They want to be able to shoot someone. And this man, this Canadian, he didn't have a gun. He desperately wanted to use these hands. He brought them back into the, I don't even know what crime this is now. Like this was burglary and it has turned to kidnapping, I think. I don't know if it can still be self-defense if you dragging him back in and dragging him by the top of the ski mask too. So he over here kicking, fighting, going backwards, right? And so then he brings that dude back in, punching, closes the door. This dude tried to get up against the door. He throws it back down and locks the door. And I was like, y'all done accidentally broke into the devil's house. That's crazy. And I think he had one of those things where instead of a key, it was like a combination thing. So as soon as you put in the combination, the lock will start to turn because that's what's happening. Because now the dude who was the second burglar, he must have been running and realized nobody was behind him. So then he comes back and he trying to get in, and then this dude just keep relocking it, right? So then finally, you know, this dude just manages to get the ski mask off the guy, so now he sees his face. Now his face is on the camera and everything. But then, I don't know how well this burglar could fight. It didn't seem like well at all. But he does finally like create like a little butterfly situation with his legs, which destabilizes the homeowner. So that guy falls to the ground. Then he goes for his own takedown on the burglar, but the burglar swings down, sits, and just has him in like a headlock, but not a headlock that's like effective. It looks like a headlock just so he can catch a break. You know, so when you see Trump talk about like a 51st state, I feel like if I worked at the White House, I would just bring an iPad and like, Mr. President, this is what they do.
Make some noise for Josh Johnson!
What a week. You know, like I don't want to jinx it, but I'm feeling pretty good. I think we got him. I think in case you didn't know, Diddy has been arrested and charged with just almost everything. Initially, it was sealed, and we just knew they were going to be holding him for a little while. And then they unsealed, and we were like, what? Because Diddy is very important for people to understand. Diddy is, when I say a monster, it's just because I don't want to swear. Diddy isn't the monster the way that, like, a person in your life that you know is evil is a monster. Diddy is a monster in the way that I'm pretty sure even the devil is like, ooh. Ooh, somebody coming for my job. And I know that, you know, you're supposed to say allegedly. But he did all of it. He did everything. He did everything that I believe that Diddy did whatever they say he did. And that doesn't just apply to like the cases he has now. I believe Diddy did stuff he hasn't been accused of yet. I believe Diddy caused inflation. He's even, if I'm not mistaken, being charged with arson in connection with blowing up Kid Cudi's car. Who blows up cars? Let's talk for a sec, because here's the thing. I do understand the intimidation and the general paranoia you build in a person's life when you blow up their car. All right? So I get why people like Diddy and the mob blow up cars. It's very effective. You know, somebody's thinking about testifying and then they're going out and then they go, beep, beep, boosh. And they're like, maybe not. But to blow up a car, really, because he's not blowing up the car himself. Diddy wasn't getting under the car with something with wheels on it in the back and then rubbing wires together and then taping it and then letting the tape fall and be like, and then taping it back. He sent someone else to do that, you know? But they arrested him, and they arrested him. I gotta look at this again to make sure I'm right, but I'm pretty sure the warrant had every name he ever went by in it. Just in case he opened the door and been like, who? No, I don't know a Puff Daddy. No, there's not a Puff here either. Would you be looking for just a general Diddy? Because he's not in. I go by Brother Love. This man did everything. You know, and then they arrested him. They got him locked up in Brooklyn in one of the worst places to be locked up. It's really bad.
Here's how bad it is. It's so bad that that prison alone has had several murders, and it is so bad condition-wise that 2 federal judges have already said that they will not send anyone else there. That's where they sent him. And this dude... That's where they sent him. And this dude wanted to make sure he didn't go to jail so bad. So bad. Properly. Like he put it all up. This dude was willing to pay a $50 million bond. Do you know how much you did it? To put up $50 million. $50 million is the type of money where you're like, I can't, first of all, most people don't make $50 million in their entire life, right? So for you to put up that money, just not be in jail yet, you know jail is coming. $50 million. Do you know what you could do with $50 million? You could fix a small country with $50 million US dollars. $50 million, and he was like, and I'll use my home and my jets as the bond. Like, this dude was putting up proper collateral of things he has. Mansion, jet, all of it. And the state said, nah. Just to fully paint the picture, do you realize that the same country that said no to that is the same country that has bail at heights that are actually unconstitutional for regular people, right? They will, if a judge doesn't like you, or if they feel like, okay, this person maybe didn't do it, but I know he doesn't have means, they will set an unreasonably high bail, which is against the Constitution, just to make sure you can't get out. But they didn't deny your bail. They just set bail at something you couldn't possibly pay, right? That same country got offered $50 million bond. And they were like, nah, because I know you. You know how bad they want you if they don't accept a $50 million bond? So he's sitting in that jail, and his lawyers are trying to get him out. They went to that judge, and the judge was like, no, I heard what you do. You blow up cars for no reason. How am I supposed to believe? They're like, he's not a flight risk. It's like, no, he won't have to fly if he tampers with every witness we have. No. So the judge denied bail, and then they went to another judge, and they were like, look, $50 million, okay? Got the mansion, got the jets, all right? We also, how about this? I'll stay at home, all right? And I won't interact with any women that aren't the mothers of my children, right? Which is a crazy, what? I won't interact with any women except the women I already terrorize. What an insane. Also, we know you're a predator to dudes too. Like that you're not being slick, being like, I won't talk to any women. No. This dude was the devil. So they denied it again. And his lawyers were pleading. They were like, please, listen, the prison that he is in it's horrible. It's absolutely disgusting. It's terrible conditions. It's traumatizing. It's in his mental health. You can't be at a place like this, And then the more they described it, the more I was listening. I was like, that just sounds like Diddy's house for everybody else. And raided his house, found all manner of stuff. They found 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Let's be clear here. Diddy is a monster. Diddy is the devil, right? The 1,000 bottles alone was enough for me to lock him up forever. Are you drinking it? 1,000 bottles. 1,000. Wooka booka. I went to a friend's house one time, and it was just like a little quick get together. They had made dinner and everything. I went to the bathroom, right? And I had a headache before I got to the party. So then, I told them while I was there, I was like, hey, I've been having this headache for like hours. Do you have like an Advil, something I can take? And they were like, yeah, go to the bathroom in the medicine cabinet should be the Advil, right? And so then, chatting, I finally go over to the bathroom. I open the medicine cabinet. The Advil is not there. And so I go to that lower part, under the sink. I'm like, maybe the Advil will be under there. And under the sink, I saw 3 bottles of baby oil. And I was like, these are some freaks. They do not have a child. And they had 3 bottles of baby oil. 1 bottle means you get busy. 3, what are you stocking up for? The fact that Diddy had 1,000 means he should be under a prison right now. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine what it would be like to be Diddy's lawyer. You gotta imagine it's a pretty good job to have. Because he's about to drop millions and millions of dollars in court and on lawyers that no one expects to win. Think about that. Anyone in here could be Diddy's lawyer. Like, he's not gonna beat the case anyway. It might as well be me standing there like, yeah, that's him. He says he didn't, so take that into consideration. You know what I mean? Just filing motions. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, what can you do if you're Diddy's lawyer? They have so much. They have so much because Diddy did so much. He did it and he recorded it. He recorded himself doing everything he did and blackmailing people. So then when the people say he's been blackmailed, the feds already have the tape that they're talking about that was being used to blackmail them. So he basically made his own case this entire time. As Diddy's lawyer, all you can do is be like, that one tape is grainy. We don't know. We don't even know if that's him in that one, okay? The other 222, yes, but this one is hard to make out who is in there at all. We don't. Diddy's lawyer was on camera taking questions from the media, which seems like a bad idea. Because unless Diddy has a twin, his lawyer didn't have anything to say that's helpful. Because the lawyer was just talking to some of the press, and there was someone who asked them. They said that they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil when they raided his house, and his lawyer did his best. He put in a valiant effort. This man said, well, I don't know if it was 1,000. It was a lot. That's your lawyer. It was a lot. But you know, there's a Costco just down the street from his house. And as you know, Americans love to buy in bulk. The whole time he's talking, you could tell he's trying not to laugh. It's like, if he's buying the baby oil in bulk, why wasn't anything else in bulk? It's insanity. We should have known, and I think a part of us did know, that Diddy was the devil when he did Making the Band. If you're too young to remember, there was a time when MTV had music on it. And in that time, Diddy, who I think went by P. Diddy at the time, maybe, or Puff, or it was Puff, he was him, okay? And he did a show where he would try to make a group, right? A hip-hop group or an R&B group or whatever. And throughout the course of that show, he would America's Next Top Model these people, all right? He would put them through absolute hell. There was one time that I think he made them walk, I'm gonna get this wrong, but he made them walk from like Brooklyn to Harlem to go get him a piece of cheesecake. And we watched it and we were like, that seems excessive. I don't know what that has to do with singing. And the show ran for a few seasons and a couple of people came out of it, but most of the groups pretty much failed because he wasn't really making a group. He was just manipulating people. He was just being terrible, you know? I think we should have really known who Diddy was through and through a couple Halloweens ago. Because I don't know if you remember, but Diddy went as the Joker, and he was an impeccable Joker. This dude had prosthetics on or something, and he looked more like the Joker than Heath Ledger did. This dude had the hair and everything flopping to the side and stuff, and he had the movements going. He had a purple suit, had the green hair and the red lips and the big scars and everything. It was truly terrifying. And everyone he ran into was like, oh, good costume. Chose Halloween to dress up as the Joker. Halloween, a day where we all put on a mask. We all pretend to be someone else, except that nigga. Like, that man was just wearing his true skin. This dude was walking around as a Joker like, I've never felt more free. Everybody terrified when they look at me. He rolled up on Tyler, the Creator. And Tyler, the Creator, was just looking at him like, He got into it that night with an actor on the show Power. I believe his name is Michael J. Ferguson. And I don't know what started the altercation, but all I know is people started filming it, right? And it was Michael J. hands low and everything. He had big muscles, he a big dude and everything. And he's cursing Diddy out. Right now, he just thinks he's cursing this weird Joker out, I think. You know what I mean? Because he's just going at him, what? What you gonna do? Nothing, you know? And then Diddy, for his part, you see the turn. You got to see every little piece of Diddy in that moment. Because at first it starts out, and I really don't even know who was in the wrong, but Diddy just seemed a bit offended. He was like, what did I do to you? I'm just out here trying to have fun and everything. And then you see a turn, and then he's like, well, then let's go. Why would you? And then the threats come and everything. And then someone else goes, yo, Mike, that's Diddy. And he doesn't seem to care. He just keeps jawing at him. And then Diddy, for some reason, decides to like let it go, right? Even gives him a hug. And he was like, oh, it's all good, man. But how about you come to the after party and check the vibration? And I was like, man, this is the devil. Where is Batman when you need him? There's two types of blackmail that Diddy engaged in, right? One was the blackmail that was coercion, right? It was basically, he would have these freak-offs. That's the name of it. I didn't come up with that just now. Don't look at me like I'm sick. I saw your faces. I said it because it's the official term. It's in a government document now. It's not just street slang. It's not Twitter talk. They said, the Attorney General said freak off when he was addressing the nation. So I'm saying freak off. Well, he would have these freak offs, right? And, you know, he would be recording while it was happening. And one of the things that he would do is that if somebody was an unwilling participant and they ever turned on him or told him that they were going to go to the police or they just weren't going to do what he said, he would tell them he had a tape of them and they wouldn't want to get that tape out, right? So he would blackmail them that way. But the other way he would blackmail people is he would have these wild parties and he would be taping everybody. So if you just show up and you do something you're not supposed to be doing, maybe you cheat on your spouse, maybe you do. He's got blackmail on everybody, top to bottom. Two types of blackmail. It's absolutely crazy. So many people want this dude dead. They put him on, they put Diddy on watch, make sure he doesn't hurt himself, because it would make a lot of sense. If there was ever a time to do it, it'd be now, Diddy. And so they put him on watch and everything, and that's gotta be wild to be like a powerful person, one of Diddy's friends, you know, knowing you were at some of these freak-offs, knowing that he has dirt on you. He might tell on you, and you just sitting there at home just praying. You know, I don't know who wants him dead more, his victims or his friends. That dude is such a monster, and now every clip of him being weird ever has resurfaced. And it turns out he was being weird the whole time. This dude went on Conan and basically just started giving a blueprint for how to get people at your party to take their clothes off. This dude was on Conan O'Brien. Conan was sitting there being like, this sounds bad. And by the way, this is old, this isn't recent. This is like what looks like early Conan. So it's still a little grainy, even though I was watching it on Twitter. And he's over here and he was skinnier and he had his shades on inside at night and everything. All the stuff we used to let him get away with. And he was like, oh yeah, you know, you want to make sure that you don't have the air conditioning on, you know, and you got to really have a lot of alcohol for people and a little bit of water, but mostly alcohol. And Conan was like, oh. You could see in Conan's eyes, he was fighting to find a commercial. He was Diddy talking like it's nothing. And like, he's like, oh, yeah, okay. Oof. This is one of the wildest things to me about Diddy, right? Is that he made an enemy a long time ago in a man named 50 Cent. 50 Cent hates Diddy so much. Okay. You ever been in a situation where, let's say there's somebody that you work with, right? And we're both just regular people, but y'all work together and you don't know what it is, but you hate them. And it's not even because they're bad at their job. They're not even being particularly annoying on purpose, but you can't stand. Every time they pass by, you want to grit your teeth. You hate them. You don't even know why. You don't know where it came from. You just hate them so much. Maybe they have a little quirk, or maybe they chew real loud. Maybe they chew so loud you can tell what they're eating. You know, just something real gross. Maybe they swallow weird and you can hear their esophagus and stuff. And y'all take your lunch at the same time, so you sitting in there while they eating, enjoying it, yumming it up. You put your AirPods in, you can't drown it out. You still hear and then every swallow just and you're like, that I hate. Ooh. And then things keep happening because y'all work together. Y'all work at the same job, so you have to interact with them. Maybe they're even in a different department, but you have to interact with them from time to time, and you hate it because they always bring up the weirdest conversations. They got a lot of feelings about tube socks. 6 sentences into a conversation, you're like, who is this dude? What? Y'all get each other for Secret Santa. You're like, I don't even know what they're gonna get me, but I know it's gonna be weird. Can't stand them. And then one day you're at work and you're at your wit's end, you know, because you hate them so much that you've actually been watching them. Watching them, waiting for them to do something fireable. You know? You even buddy up to HR just so that whenever you bring your case to HR, they'll be like, hey, yeah, buddy, I got you. I've been worried about him too, you know? Going to work, you can't stand this dude. You hate him so much. Sometimes you just look at the back of his head and you don't even know it's you doing it, but all of a sudden you standing behind him and your fist is right there. You hate this dude, and then one day you're at work, regular day. You at work, he's at work, and out of nowhere, you couldn't have imagined it. Truly out of nowhere, Homeland Security comes. And arrest this dude in his big mink coat or whatever he's wearing. No, I don't think anybody felt, more vindicated that was on the outer edges of Diddy's sphere than 50 Cent. 50 Cent had hated that dude for years. And look, 50 Cent isn't the one. Don't mess with 50 Cent because not only is he funny, which is already dangerous, he's so funny that you can tell he a natural bully. You ever been bullied by somebody and then went and tell people what they did and the people you told were like, that is funny though, like that's... I know it's wrong, but that was pretty good, like... Because we're not talking even about bullying in the terms of violence. I'm talking about bullying in like waiting for you to get real excited about something and then tricking you right in. Okay. 50 Cent, early in his career, he couldn't stand a dude named Ja Rule. If you don't know who Ja Rule is, then 50 Cent did his job. 50 Cent hated Ja Rule and hated him in a way that I was like, something deeper is going on here. Because you don't just hate a coworker this bad off of nothing. But he couldn't stand him. He felt like he was fake. There was even a series on BET called Beef. Beef was amazing because Beef would make these mini documentaries about different beefs that were happening in all of hip hop throughout history and currently. And at the time, one of the current ones was 50 Cent and Ja Rule. And they had interviewed both of them because what they would do with the show that was brilliant was that they wouldn't just like give you this like faceless voiceover David Attenborough documentary style. Like, they really got interviews from everybody, you know? And so then they interviewed Ja Rule. At one point, he was on the couch with some of his buddies, and they asked him about 50 Cent, and he was just, who? And they interviewed 50 Cent, and 50 Cent was ready. I don't know where 50 Cent was, but I think he made the smart decision to go ahead and be on a balcony or somewhere outside in case he got loud. And he just went in on Ja Rule like they had been longtime enemies. These are two dudes who I'm pretty sure don't know each other at all. But 50 Cent, at one point, he even said, this dude, I'll never forget this. This is when I fully understood like hate on a petty level in my life for the first time. Because I was a teenager watching Beef on BET. And he was on the balcony, so the balcony railings about here. And 50 Cent just, they did a perfect job with the editing, by the way. They keep cutting back and forth. So every time they give a detail about Ja Rule, 50 Cent said something treacherous, right? It was really great, you know, because then Ja Rule would say something along the lines of like, I'm a star, I don't need to worry about up-and-comers hating on me, blah, blah, blah. And then it would cut to 50 Cent. 50 Cent would be like, yeah, go hang out with the pop stars and Christina Aguilera, whoever you want, if they'll accept you. But dog, you fake, you're fake, you're fake. Like, it was like he was getting angrier and angrier throughout the interview. And I remember the interview because the last time they cut to him, I've never seen anything like it. They cut to this dude one last time, and he just went, psh. $50 Cent hated Ja Rule, and then Ja Rule got into it with Eminem. And Eminem and Dr. Dre had signed 50 Cent, and they were a huge part of his career, especially on the come up, and they collaborated a bunch, and they, were touring together. They would have toured together more if Eminem hadn't decided to stay home and be with family and stuff like that. They tight, right? Making incredible music together, classics. And Ja Rule went at 50 Cent, went at Eminem, because he didn't have a crystal ball. He couldn't see the future. And it went terribly for him. I mean, Eminem just ripped him apart in several songs with references. There were moments, Eminem is too funny, Eminem had a song with him. Haley's in the song, and she's like, is Ja Rule bigger than me? And Eminem said, no, sweetie, y'all are the same size. And Eminem, for his part, was very much above board. I don't really have a problem with you. I was even almost about to squash it. And then you mentioned my daughter's name. My daughter's a kid, man. And so he just went at him, right? And destroyed him thoroughly. But 50 Cent was on a different level. 50 Cent was like, I don't think that this will ever be over. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you apologize to me. Never be over. I can't stand this dude. And Ja Rule goes to prison at one point. I don't remember what for. A part of me thinks 50 Cent had something to do with it, but there's no way for me to tell. But then, if I have my timing right, Ja Rule gets out of prison, and no matter when, I could be wrong about the timing here, but I know that the thing happened. Basically, Ja Rule has a concert, and it's going to be like a big comeback, like get my career going type of concert, you know, like a welcome home party, a revival of Ja Rule's career. And the tickets actually sell fast, which I was perplexed by. Because I was like, how? Not even as a hater, just like, I don't know. It's like if you found out everybody in the world was actually into air hockey, you'd be like, I had no idea. You always see the table there, but So the tickets were selling fast, and you know, nobody was probably more excited than Ja Rule. And then the day comes for the concert, and Ja Rule goes out, and it turns out that 50 Cent had bought most of the seats. I do my best to put myself in other people's shoes. And I tried to imagine what it would be like if I came out here and y'all weren't here. If it was just 3 of y'all in the back that I had to yell to. Imagine that, trying to still do the show. Yeah, it's crazy out here. But I said all that to say that 50 Cent and everything that happened is to show you that that's the dude that hated Diddy. Hated him so much, hated him to his core, couldn't stand him. For years he hated him. There was even a moment, okay, I'm sure you saw this, but in case you didn't, it's one of the things that really showed me that he hated him on like a petty level, professional level, business level, all of it. I'm pretty sure it was Diddy that posted a picture of himself. I don't know where he was. Maybe it was New York, maybe it was not Miami or something, but he was on a bike and he was just riding his bike, and then 50 Cent commented, you know he's smiling because there's no seat on that bike. $50 Cent is funny, and he's not the one. If 50 Cent came at me, I'd be like, should I just shoot myself in the leg or what? I don't want any problems. I'm very sorry for whatever I did. Please don't do this. Because I don't know when it really started, but you take it back, all the way back to the early part of 50 Cent's career, and he's popping, he's killing it, right? Get Rich or Die Trying is an all-time hip-hop classic. Curtis, all-time hip-hop classic. This man is pumping out amazing music. He's having incredible tours and everything. And at one point, he goes, this is years later from the time I'm talking about, but we're going to get back there. He goes on the Breakfast Club, and he talks to them about, things he's promoting, and he's just chilling and everything. And Diddy comes up and he tells this story of being at a wedding. I don't remember whose wedding, but he was at this wedding and just hanging out and everything. And Diddy's there, and Diddy's chatting him up, being like, man, I like you. You real cool dude and everything. Like, yeah, we should hang out. Let me take you shopping sometime. And then 50 Cent said, what? And Diddy doesn't say anything wrong, so he repeats it. He's like, no, let me take you shopping sometime. And he was like, man, get away from me. Because Diddy is so hated by 50 Cent that apparently A decade ago, 50 Cent just started gathering information on Diddy. As much as he could find. And he started working on a documentary series on how bad Diddy is. A documentary. He did interviews. He hates this man so much. I've heard of gossip. I've never heard of okay, we're gonna have the whole crew there by 3, all right? And we'll have a place for you to sit, we'll have some snacks and everything. We'll just chop it up, we'll just chat. Tell me everything that he did, that bastard, right? A documentary series that he's already potentially sold to Netflix. He hates this. I've never hated. I'm not only do my best not be a hateful person, I really try to let things go and not hate anybody. So I don't even know what it's like to hate someone. So I've never hated someone. So imagine hating someone so much you're willing to edit. You're willing to sit at the computer and be like, no, that's not. Let's see if we can make this B-roll work. This dude hates him so much that there's actually things on the cutting room floor that didn't make it in. Imagine you hate somebody so much you don't even have time for how much you hate them in the thing you made about hating them. And the craziest thing about it is that apparently, I don't know if this is true, but this is what I've been hearing. I looked it up from several outlets, and 50 Cent's documentary series about Sean Combs is titled, Did He Do It? This is the worst enemy to have. You know, you read even some of the stuff that Diddy's accused of, and now some of the text messages have leaked of what people were saying to him and what he was saying to other people at different stages, leading from Cassie coming out about him to present. And yeah, this dude is the devil, you know? But it's also, you're gonna need to be patient with me because I'm gonna try to say it right and I'm probably gonna fail, but just hear me out. You can tell that these people texting Diddy, the things that we've seen so far, because the trial hadn't even started yet. So the things haven't even come out that are the things that people are worried about. Because trust me when I tell you, Diddy the Black Epstein, they already put that dude on watch. But you can tell that he was a terror to so many people for so long, you know? And it's indicative of how we don't believe and protect each other. You know, it's really important that we do. Someone like Diddy is a prime example. When someone comes to you and they tell you that something happened, not only do you need to hear them out, you need to listen to what they're saying, but you also need to, with them, try to find a place where they feel comfortable to tell you more. You know, and what can be done about what they're telling you? Because sometimes people tell you something, they don't know what else to do, so they tell you, and they're like, "Don't tell anybody, don't do anything," right? And I'm not saying you should disrespect a person's wishes. I'm just saying that on top of that, you really have to talk it out with them and be like, "Are you sure you don't want me to do anything? You don't think that there's any recourse? You don't think? Let me bring you options. Let me try to help you through this thing, right?" Because we don't do a good job of believing women, but I'm telling you this, and I know it's not going to sound right when it first hits your ears, but please hear me out. We also need to do a much better job of believing men. Because it is not easy at all. It's one of the scariest things that a person can do to come forward as a survivor of anything that's happened to him. And when a woman comes forward and people do the thing, we already know what they're going to do. There's almost a playbook online of how they're going to treat her, what people are going to say, what's going to happen if it goes to trial, why now, they just want money, all the things. They never fail, right? But when a dude comes forward, you got to remember, this dude was probably willing to take that to the grave. And then something happened where he was like, no, I got to say something, right? You know, there's so many people who would rather die than have people find out what happened to them. So if they tell you, you got to believe them. So many people are letting the fact that Diddy's bi overshadow the fact that he's a monster. That's what's crazy to me, is that it's like, oh man, Diddy was over here trying to kiss the back of this dude's neck. It's like, yeah, you mean assault him? Yeah, I know. You know? I think that's why I'm so thankful for the era that we're in now of people being able to find things on the internet, just at large. I know the internet's a big place. I know there's a lot of artists, a lot of creatives and everything. But the fact that it's now more than ever in the hands of the people, as far as creativity goes and as far as like putting your work out there goes, it's a beautiful thing, because one of the reasons that people like Diddy were able to prevail for so long is because they had something. They had something that they could hold over people. They had power. They had money. They had your access to getting your work out there. And so people, you know, let people like Diddy manipulate and put them in situations they would never be in otherwise, right? But he had the power of a label. One of the best things that Cassie's lawyers did with that lawsuit was implicate all the labels. They didn't just sue him as like Sean Combs. They were like, no, I'm suing everybody. I'm suing the whole thing, because the whole thing's connected, because you use the thing to manipulate. But you don't just walk into a room and be like, I'm Sean Combs, everyone get naked. That's not what's happening. You use the label. You use the fact that you can shelve people. You use the fact that maybe their projects will never come out. You use the fact that they're waiting on the money that they need to fund their project. You use all of these things, and you say things without saying them. And before you know it, you have people in a horrible situation, you know? And one of the main things that I can't stop thinking about is how Diddy was able to get away with being Diddy for so long. You know, because there's so many times, there's so many little points in time where so many people's lives would have been different if Diddy had just gone to jail when he was supposed to go to jail, the other times he was supposed to go to jail. Like, if you think back, way back, Diddy used to date J-Lo. And when Diddy and J-Lo were dating, they were like a hot couple, you know, and they were always in the tabloids and stuff, and everybody was following them around. I remember, I can't remember if it was the VMAs or the BET Awards, but she went to some award show with a dress that had everybody like, God, that's J-Lo, that's crazy. Oh, and she became this it girl and everything, and she was dating Diddy at the time, and they went to a nightclub together. And when they went to this nightclub, you know, I don't really know the circumstance of the fight starting, but somebody got in a fight with Diddy, right? And it's hard to tell when you in a fight at a nightclub. I've been to nightclubs before. I know it don't seem like it, but I've been to nightclubs before, and I've almost had some altercations at nightclubs. Not even because I meant to. I was just in there, just walking, having a good time, and then maybe somebody's yelling at you. Maybe they're trying to get your attention. Maybe they're trying to fight you. It's hard to tell all that stuff from regular dancing at a nightclub. You know? Because when you see people dance at a nightclub, depending on who it is, they look like they're in their own fight. They look like they're in a battle with the rhythm. They look like they're taking swings at the melody. So it's hard to know that they want to fight you. You know? And then people yell at a nightclub, but yelling is how you talk. It's so loud in here. You know? Like, I was in a nightclub one time, I was walking, and I must have like stepped on this guy's shoe or something. I didn't mean to. And he was like, hey, like yelling at me, trying to get my attention. And I just turned around and I was like, hi. And that's... that didn't do me any favors, right? because I really didn't hear him, but leaning over and being like, that's just offering up my face for the punching. And so Diddy got into some altercation with some dude, and no one knows everything that was said, but it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of like, well, I make money too and everything. And then apparently he grabbed some money and he threw it in Diddy's face, right? But this is the way I'd like to imagine it, because apparently it flew up in the air, and I think the only way that could happen is if he had the money, balled up in that roll of money, right? And that roll of money that you just keep together with a thin rubber band, right? So that way when it hits something, the whole thing explodes. And he's like, I make money too, and he threw it and it hit Diddy on the head and just pow. Then it started to rain, right? And so then, gets in this altercation, and then Diddy allegedly pulls a gun out, right? Starts firing off at this dude, okay? And whole gunfight ensued and everything. And that was one of the wildest nights because, Diddy and J-Lo were not quite I wouldn't say clean cut, because they were still partying, hip hop, everything, but they were this it couple. And now this horrible thing had happened and they were at the center of it, right? And there was even a whole trial, and at the trial, J-Lo testified that she only saw Shine pull out a gun. Now, Shine, if you don't remember, was a rapper who was popping at the time. And he went to jail by himself for 10 years. Diddy didn't go to jail. And there was even a woman named Natanya Rubin. And Natanya Rubin has said many times, she never stopped saying it, that she saw Diddy pull his gun. And she knows that Diddy pulled his gun because Diddy shot her in the face. And she survived and everything, but she didn't get any media attention or anything. And then, publications just ran with the fact that J-Lo said Shine did it, and that was enough. Shine was guilty. He was off to jail. But even to this day, Natanya Rubin is like, you need to reopen the case. I'm right here. And she had her surgery and everything. And I mean, to a certain degree, I watched her. She did an interview recently, and you can't really tell, but she says she lives with that pain because there are fragments that they couldn't get out, right? And she's like, he needs to reopen the case. I want justice, And the journalist asked her, would you be willing to give one of the fragments and do the forensic test and everything, because they didn't do one apparently. And she said, yeah, of course. I got 9 fragments. I can spare one. The thing that did Diddy in, really, truly, from his own nature, from his own core, were money, power, and fame, right? And money, power, and fame is a dangerous combination. Messes up a lot of people. Money, because, guys, money. This is what trajectory of money does in the mind. When you have no money and you just imagine having some money, that's even enough money. When you have no money and you're like, man, it'd be nice to eat. That's the money for the meal in front of you is all you need in your mind. It's why people who are desperate, truly desperate, walk up to you and they don't ask for everything that they need. They ask for what they need to get by. They ask for change. They ask for the next thing that they need, because money changes perspective. As the more of it that you get, the more you become not necessarily an insane person, but your ideas, your wants and needs, they start to shift. And they usually, at a certain amount of money, leave Earth. Why do you think all the billionaires are trying to go to space? They're like, I did it all. I did everything here. What's up there? Can I own that? That'd be nice. Money messes with your mind. And then sometimes you think, man, if I had enough money for this thing, I'd be so good. I'd be so benevolent. And maybe you would. But maybe you wouldn't. Maybe having that money and getting attached to it would attach you to it so tight that now I don't really want to have less than this. I don't know anyone working in America that's willing to get paid less. You know, we all have, and some of it's just human nature. We all have a little upward mobility, thinking about what's next, thinking about how we can build up. That, I'm not saying that's wrong at all. I'm saying at a certain amount of money, you just lose your mind. You know? And then power. Money and power, they get people to do some of the same things. Money, I'll give you an example. I was in Vietnam a little while ago, right? And the Vietnamese dong, which is their currency, right? One of our dollars is about, at least at the going rate right now, currency exchange wise, is about 24,200 dong. So if you go there with your yearly salary, you are a billionaire in dong. And we look at our billionaires a certain type of way. We look at them as like, why is this piece of shit hoarding all this wealth? Is he out of his mind? Does he not know how many people he could help? This is crazy. It's billions and billions of dollars. And then you talk to a billionaire and they're like, oh yeah, well, I had this idea of how we could like get to space and stuff. So I'll just do that. It's like, we're dying. Why would you? No one cares about space. Why are you hoarding all of it? And then you hear, even in like a billionaire's, I listen to the audiobook because I don't like to read about, I want to know a billionaire's life, but to read it and learn it all slow feels upsetting. I'm just like, let me just let someone tell me so I can feel like I'm talking to a friend, like, what? You know what I mean? Like, that's a little bit smoother of a process. But you talk about, you know, like a billionaire, and the way that they think about us is insane. There are even billionaires that have been, they've said it. Different billionaires are different levels of like loose-lipped. And there are billionaires that have properly said to a camera that they knew was recording, if people knew how good my life was, they would bring back the guillotine. That's what he said. And then you hear other billionaires tell it, and they're like, well, you know, if people are too dumb or too lazy or too scared to take the chances to make money, that's on them. The way that they think about us is insane. But then you see an American, a Brit, maybe somebody from Australia, go to Vietnam and be a billionaire, and it is harrowing how many people turn into our billionaires there. I watched it. I was in a market, right? And there was this British lady that was trying to haggle with this woman who had made this like homemade, like knitted little bag, right? And she was charging like, I don't know, maybe like 5,000 dong for it. Now remember, I told you $1 was 24,000 dong. And this British lady is actually like haggling with her. Like being like, what about 4,000? She's like, no, it's 5. It's like, what, you know, what about 475? No, 5. And she doesn't know much English. And the British lady's getting annoyed with her. And I'm getting furious because I'm like, you realize the pound is doing better than the dollar. So you're just haggling like, what if I gave you nothing? Would nothing be good? What about nothing? You would love nothing though. Like if I gave you nothing, that'd make me feel better as I left. And this person is a billionaire, at least right now. You can tell that they're broke in Britain, though. Like, only a broke person would go somewhere else and then try to be rich really hard. Like, that's... I don't know why you front. You know you could only afford the flight. I don't know why you acting like this right now. Acting like these people are trying to cheat you out of something. You know you already have a leg up. It's crazy. But it is how billionaires think sometimes. Because then when we work at a corporation that's $1 billion, maybe even you work at Apple, Amazon, you work at one of the truly big ones that's about to hit the trillions of dollars, right? And then you want a raise, and you want a substantial raise, and it's nothing for them because they have billions of dollars, and they're still like, why should we give you anything? It's the same mentality, right? And so Diddy had money, and he had the type of money that makes people do things, bend to your will and everything. And so he bent it, and he had power. And this is the thing about power. I'm I'm someone who wants very little power. Because I don't know, I can think about what I might do, but I don't know what I would do with power. That's terrifying. Don't give me power. If I had the power to make Ted Cruz punch himself in the balls, whether it was like X-Men mind control or if I just had enough money that he would do it, like, if I could make Ted Cruz punch himself in the balls nonstop, his balls would never rest. I would go overboard with my power. And Diddy had lots of power. He had power, he had influence, and used all of it to garner more and to truly hurt people. He didn't care who he hurt. You can see it when you read the indictment. And he did it for long as well, you know? And then fame is the last thing. Fame, you can't actually control, especially now. There are people that want to be very famous, and they might get there. And then there are people who don't mean to be famous at all, but then someone's just recording, and then a TikTok is made. Like, there are people who become famous overnight, and all they did was trip. That's too random. Fame is the one that gets away from you. Money, you can decide how much money you want to keep, how much money you want to make, especially if you have the means to just be making boatloads of money. You can take a step back and be like, a lot of money is enough money. I don't need all the money. Power you wield, and power you can also give away. You can tell someone, I want to bring you in. I want to make you powerful as well, right? Fame, not really. There are plenty of people that the industry has tried to make famous, and we were like, nah. But people with power, people with money, they can promise fame, even if they can't deliver. And because they have so much money and so much power, it looks like they can give you fame. And so that's another way that Diddy manipulated and abused people, was through his fame and the promise of fame that was to come to them. Right? And money, power, and fame is actually what screwed Diddy. Not just his own. The fact that he finally met up with the U.S. government. No government is more powerful with more money or more famous. And when you put the two up against each other, his is, money and power and fame of the U.S. government, the money that they have. You think you have money, they can freeze your money. You can show up to court and they'll be like, oh, you broke. Oh, I'm sorry, you thought you had money? Oh, I feel terrible for you. It must suck to be broke. They can freeze your accounts. Power? You want to talk about federal power? Look at the conviction rate of federal prosecutors. It's in the 90s for a reason. People either plead out or they're like, no, I'm going to be vindicated in court. And the U.S. government is like, I bet you won't. Fame? What government is more famous, especially as far as their judicial system? What government is more famous than the U.S. government? You know? They looking at Diddy right now like, oh, you blew up Kid Cudi's car, that's cute. We killed MLK. And Malcolm X. No, you're done, bro. No, it's over. Because I think about how does a person become that evil? You know what I mean? And so a lot of it is ego. Ego's a dangerous thing. Ego is like a dish that only feeds you false fruit, right? Like the more that you eat off of your own ego, the more you starve your spirit. Like it's the way to sickness, you know? Like ego is this like still small voice, right? Telling you the most important thing is I. Like ego stands in like the middle of pride right there. But then when things happen, when consequence comes, ego never shows up. Ego is like a friend. Ego's like a friend that's like, hey, come on, the door's unlocked. Let's get in this house. No, let's just see what's inside. There might be some good stuff in there. It's like, but it's not my house. Come on. Then ego gets you to go in there. And then you're like, some shiny stuff. And then you start grabbing stuff. And then before you know it, you see blue and red lights. And you're like, come on, we got to get out. And ego's gone already. Like, I think about how it got here, you know, and how many people Diddy hurt and why he was allowed to get away with it for so long. And I can't help but think that a lot of what he was allowed to get away with is because it happened to black women. You know what I mean? When people say protect black women, they don't mean that black women can't protect themselves. We mean that when you look at the stats and you look at who the powerful people hurt because they know that they can do it, it's the same people. I guess what I'm trying to say is I hope Diddy gets life. And I hope he lives forever.